Hi guys, today I'm in a Mercedes ML250. It's on a 2015 65 and it's done about 30,000 miles. So in 5 years it's well under its average miles and it drives like new. It's immaculate inside, immaculate outside. It's been really well looked after and cared for, this. And it shows, you know, the Mercedes build quality shows with it, because they've put something together that even though it's done 30,000 miles, it really does look like new inside and out. And that's down to the owner, the previous keeper, keeping it in really good condition, obviously. But along with that, no matter how good care you take something, if it's badly made and it's poor quality materials, you're still gonna experience some wear and tear with that, which there's not on this. So as I've said in previous videos, I'm a bit of a Mercedes fanboy myself. I've had A classes, E classes, I've had an old shape ML, I've had a couple of smart cars from the Mercedes brand. And I know, but they were a tool used at a time for advertising my business on, and they were very economical and very cheap, and you could park them anywhere and you can advertise with them, so that they serve the purpose. I don't particularly like the new smart car. I think the old one had a lot of character to it, and it looked like something completely different on the road, and it was like, look at this car, it stands out. Whereas I think the new one now, I think it could be an iGo, it's just a small car, it's not a distinctive looking car. Anyway, I digress. So this ML, I had an old ML, like I think it was a W reg on a 2000 a while back, and that inside was, I mean, this is miles more modern, but it was really, really practical and had lots of switches and buttons and lots of tech on it for a year as well, really. But this one they've really updated it with. They have now replaced, they discontinued the ML and they've brought up the GLE. And the way that the Mercedes model range works now, so you used to have an A class, a B class, a C class, an E class, an S class, discounting the sort of sporty ones that they do, and you also had the ML and the GL. And the ML was this sort of 5-seater SUV, and the GL was the 7-seater massive big version of this car. Really neat, economical, and just as it was. And then what they decided to do was to bring them all in line, because the ML is built on the chassis of an E-Class. It's the same size as an E-Class, same footprint, just a lot bigger and more space inside, or more height inside. And the GL is built on an S-Class body and an S-Class chassis. And then they brought out some new models. They brought out what they call a GLC, which is a C-Class that's jacked up with four-wheel drive capabilities and bigger height. They brought out the GLA, which is I'm not personally a big fan of, but it was a four-wheel drive version of the A-Class. They've recently just introduced the GLB. So this ML then got a rebranding, so it became the GLE because of the E-Class chassis. So the ML became the GLE and the GL became the GLS because of the S-Class chassis. And initially what they did was they literally just changed the badges, so this car became the GLE. The very early GLEs were this model year, with this shape with this shape ML as a GL, just a rebadge. And then what they did, when they got through to the point where they were refreshing the model, and they brought out the new model of the GLE, it's then become much chunkier and rounder, and it's got the digital cockpit inside, and they've really updated the inside to bring it in line with things like the S-Class and the current shape E-Class and C-Class and things like that. So everything's sort of mirrored in the range. But this is the last of this sort of original MLs, and I really like it. It's very, if you compare it to the new GLE, it's very basic, and it's not as there's more tactile buttons, but there's not it's not got the big screens and stuff like that. It's got the screen that you'd expect to find in sort of the older shape E-Class. It's got all the bells and whistles on it though. I mean, it's got park assist, it's got the heated seats, it's got electric mirrors, it's got memory seats, it's got automatic lights, automatic wipers. It's got everything on it that you could need. And interestingly enough, the armrest that turns into a bit of a cubby hole, there's like a lever at the front, and you pull that up, and that's been the same on E-Classes and C-Classes and MLs for years. You pull that up and the thing opens up and you can get access to it. And on the E-Class Cabriolet I did a review of the other week, the button's on the side for that, and if you try and lift that forward bit, so it doesn't do anything. And I was a bit like, well, why have they used that if it's thing? But I could not work out how to get the roof down at all. I was struggling like mad. I'm thinking there's got to be an obvious switch somewhere that says this is how you get the roof down. Anyway, that pulls up from the side, and that's where they've hidden all the buttons. And I thought it was a nice little area really for them to put the buttons for the roof. But aside from that, this car is part leather and part suede in the middle, which is a nice combination. It really is. It's nice and comfortable. The suede is much more comfortable than the leather, in my opinion. But you've also got that leather look, and if you spill something, it's on leather. As I say, it's heated. I think the heated suede is nice, and the heated leather is not sweaty, so it's a nice feel. You've got the front and rear parking sensors in this, and this is something that I love with the Mercedes. I think it's so simple and yet so clever. So what they have, instead of having big displays coming on the screen and beeping and shouting and all these sorts of things, what they have is they have a little discrete bar above the speaker on the dashboard, and as you're driving forward, that's your forward parking sensors, and my lights just appear on that and get more and more lights, and it goes red when you're really close. And the same with the rear. What they've done with the rear is the rear's on the roof, and it's just in line with your rear view mirror, so you look in your rear view mirror and you can see the parking sensors. And I just thought, what a clever idea. When I first got in a Merc that did that, I think it was an older C-Class, and the first time I saw it, I thought, what a clever idea that is, rather than putting it on displays and if you're looking backwards because you're reversing, you're sort of obviously using your wing mirrors, but you're glancing in your rear view and you can just see that little thing. I just thought, what a clever idea and what a good place to put it, and I've never seen another manufacturer do anything like that really since. So I really like that. You've got two big clocks up front, nice and clear where you're going, what speed you're going, what revs you're at. The steering wheel's very, very chunky. This is an AMG line ML, and it's also got a premium pack on it, so there are a couple of little refinements that you don't get on the standard ML, and this steering wheel certainly one of them. A nice sporty looking chunky steering wheel. You've got the massive pan roof that goes all the way back, which is gorgeous. On a day like today, it's letting in plenty of sunlight. We're now at 30 degrees in Manchester, so it's a rare treat. But you know, it really, and I know it's maybe interfering with the camera a bit, the glare on it, and I do apologise for that, but it really is a nice day to be driving along, and to be driving along in something like this. Now I'm going to take it to the moors, and we'll have a little drive up there, because it's a lovely day and a nice place to be high up. It's something that I like to take an SUV to the moors on a day like this, and you can see over the hedge lines and you can see the views. There's a famous monument, Harsted Pike, that we'll pass, and it's just a nice place to go for a drive really on a day like this. It's also got the sporty sort of aluminium pedals on this, which are a nice finishing touch. We've got aluminium sweeping the dashboard and on the glove box release, and on the sides we've got memory seats for 3 passengers on the driver's side and passenger side, which is nice, a nice little touch. And the boot on this thing's cavernous. It's really, really big. It's great. You put the rear seats down, the luggage size, what you can carry then is just, you've got yourself a van basically. But with the seats up, we've got a really, really nice big boot, plenty of storage space. If you're going away, you've got tons and tons of room. You're never going to be thinking, I can't take that with me, or whatever. It's not got the pan roof on this model. It's got the twin sunroofs instead, which, to be honest with you, with twin sunroofs, alright, there's a bar in the middle of it, but it's just as good as having a pan roof anyway. It's also got the sunglasses holder, and I think that's always a nice touch to just have your shades just above there that you just touch and they come down. I think that's a nice thing. And with the MLs, they are a permanent 4-wheel drive, so they're not like sort of the G-Wagon where you've got locking differentials and a high and low box and things like that. They're just an automatic 4-wheel drive that takes care of traction and grip and just gets you out of sticky situations. They do have the hill descent control, which you can turn on. You've got the option of obviously going through the sports and comfort and putting it into manual and using. You've got the flappy paddles on the gear stick. You don't have a sort of a Tiptronic box with a shifter, because with the Mercedes on the right hand side of the steering wheel, you have the gear selector there, so there's nothing to sort of engage if you wanted to change gear to a Tiptronic. So what you do is use the flappy paddles, and the nice flappy paddles, they're in a perfect position, and they're nice having a firm grip of the wheel and still being able to navigate with them. I think again this is something that Mercedes have got so right, with just the little things. There's a few things that I like about the way they've done things on this car. So I think the front and rear parking control is fantastic. They really, I just think it's so simple that, but it works so well. You've got the electronic brake adjustment on the steering wheel, a little tiny stick that you can move up and left, right, and pull it out. And but the other thing that I think Mercedes have got so right is this American style shifter. So instead of having a gear stick or a dial or some sort of contraption that you change gear with in the centre console, they freed up a lot of space. There's a nice big cubby hole with cup holders in and somewhere to shove your phone, and there's just lots of pockets and storage room. The bins are massive on the doors. But what that's enabled them to, it's enabled them to do that because what they've done is they've put the shifter on the right hand side of the steering wheel, and it's what's like an indicator stalk almost, and it's what the Americans do on theirs. And I don't know why more manufacturers don't do it really, because if you think about it, what they've done is they've combined the windscreen wipers, the indicators onto one stalk. So normally you've got your indicators on your left, you've got your windscreen wipers on the right, but they just combined it on one because you only need to go up and down with your indicators anyway. And then they've just added a few extra switches on for wipers, for front and rear wipers, and to be honest with you, most of the time they're set to automatic anyway, so you don't really have to get yourself concerned with them. The lights are on a switch on the right hand side of the dashboard, so they're nice and neatly tucked out of the way. And then this can be used exclusively for this, but it's just really, really nice. So you're sat in this seat and you've got two hands on the wheel and you're driving along and you're in drive, you get to somewhere you need to reverse, you just flick it up, you reverse backwards, flick it down again, and you're off again. You're not sort of down here and changing gear and hands off the wheel and stuff. It's just keeps everything nice and in place, and I think they've done a really good job of design with that. I think the Mercedes German engineers have done a fantastic job with the design, and it's something that always impresses me really. It's also got on this car the camera behind the rear view mirror, so it's picking up the speed signs as we're going along, flashing up to tell me that we're in a 40, and you know, I can be aware of my speed and make sure I'm not getting any speeding tickets. So that's always a nice touch, and that's something again that's part of the premium pack. But it's just a lovely day to take this car for a drive and be out there with it really. As I said, I do have a soft spot for Mercedes, definitely, and I love the way they make a car. And I think, as I've said before, you sort of, to me, if you're into your cars, you're either a Mercedes, an Audi, or a BMW fan, and there's lots of other cars to go with that obviously as well, and things that you can like and dislike. But to me, you like one of them three brands, and I don't dislike BMWs or Audis at all. I think they're lovely cars, but to me, the car of choice would always be the Mercedes, and I like the way they've evolved over the years, what they've done with them. I just think they're great cars, I really do. So I'm going to continue to enjoy the sunshine on this lovely drive through the moors in Saddlewood today, and enjoy some of this nice cold aircon on my face while I'm driving along. I hope you have a good day too, and if you like this video, please do smash that like button. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell to get notified when I drop new content, and I'll see you all very soon.